Hi everyone, it's Vicky here, and today I am doing a new class for Scrap Academy. It's week 7 and my theme today is typed journaling. So you'll see I've got a little photo here and I've typed some journaling on my computer and printer. I also have a typewriter, but it's not playing very well at the moment, so I decided to do this on my computer, and I just used the Courier new font so it looked like a typewriter. So there's my little photo and my little it's a little picture of a bird, little blue tit that I rescued from banging into my window. So more about that in a bit. So I'm just cutting out the journaling from this piece of, it's sort of thin cardstock, so it's not paper, it's thin cardstock. And what I did was I decided to cut along the tops and then the bottoms, but actually I realised that once I've cut the strip along the top, it's too narrow to put back in the trimmer. So I have to go through and cut those strips thinner by hand, which is fine. I'm fairly good at cutting straight, so I'm not too concerned about that. So I just cut those strips through, and it just tells the little story of him, or maybe it's a her, but I'm calling it him, banging into the window, and then I picked him up, put him in a little safe place out of the wind, and he eventually sort of flew off back into the trees. So there was definitely a story to be told with this picture. It couldn't just be on a layout with a title, so I wanted to have this journaling instead. So I've got lots and lots and lots, and indeed lots of Project Life cards hanging around. So I thought I would pull out some that I could use here with this picture. And I was looking at blues and greens and yellows, and I've also got a little bit of pink in there, just because the photo sort of almost has some little bits of chipped bark in that look almost pink, so I wanted to choose those. Now I think about putting some of these big florals on there, and I can't really make them work, and I've left it in there just so that you can see what I'm doing, but I'm getting frustrated with it, and I speeded up the video quite a bit so that you didn't have to be too tortured by it. But yeah, they just weren't working. They were too big, and I sort of had to give up on them in the end. But sometimes that happens, you know, I'll just put things on, it's just not working. So now I'm going through some old stash and pulling out some things that I think might work. And I love that tag, that's Pinkfresh Studio tag, that's already sort of layered up. So it's almost a layer in itself already. So I'm thinking about using that. I'm putting things in and out, in and out. Getting a little bit frustrated at this point, but I'm really happy eventually how it comes together. So that little dimensional sticker is also, I believe, a Pinkfresh Studio sticker, and that sticks on there onto the tag quite nicely. So now I'm going to cut up my journaling lines, and I'm going to put those onto the top left there. So they're slightly longer than the card, but that's okay. Just sort of adds a bit of extra texture. Excuse the noise in the background. That's my husband and my dog doing something. I don't know what. So there we go. So they're all cut up now and all sort of displayed there, and that just tells the story. So I want to get on with this and start to put it all together soon. And once I put in that frame, I like the frame there, but those leaves don't really work. They worked with just the tag, but not with the frame. So I'm starting to stick down. So I'm putting some vellum behind the photograph, and then I'm sticking the photograph to the Pocket Life cards. And I'm just going to use dimensional foam to pop my photo up. Okay, so I've moved that tag over to the other side, and I prefer it that side now. Still trying to make those big florals work. They really don't. I should just give up. Okay, so florals there, just building a little cluster there, and I come back to that in a minute. So I'll just cut this little frame out of this Pocket Life card, and I'm going to put that underneath the one with the house, just to add the extra pop of pink at the side. and I'm going to start to stick some things down, and I'm going to distress the edge of the pocket life cards with the photo on top. Just because there's no other embellishments there, I just wanted to add a bit of extra texture. So stick that down. Then I'm just going to stick these flat because I'm going to put some foam on the back of the cluster that I use here. So just on the back of the flowers, and that's just sticky back foam, which I'll put some glue on the other side of in a moment. So it's an awkward shape, so it looks very strange on the back, but you can't see that once it's stuck down. There we go, a bit of glue. That's Scotch tacky glue that I use in a fine liner bottle. People have asked me that before, so just mention that. Okay, I put a bit of foam underneath that tag just so that would sort of make it stick up a little bit, like it's popping out of the frame. So I'm going to stick these down. That's a T-square ruler there that I use just to make sure that those are straight on there. Otherwise they wouldn't be straight, they would be a complete disaster. So yeah, so I'm just I'm popping up that pocket life card that the journaling is going to stick on, and I'm going to put the frame flat here for the tag, and then the tag obviously sticks up a little out of it on a slight angle. There we go, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so now I'm going to stick my journaling down. I make a bit of a mess because I put a couple in the wrong order. So I have to peel them off and go back, and anyway, you'll see that. But yeah, my advice is read the story as you're sticking it down. And it almost made sense, the two that were together, but then I got to the end, or almost to the end, and realised that something was wrong. I had one left that I shouldn't have. So yeah, so you can see it dawning on me that I've done that. So I had to cut a little bit more off of those strips just so that I could fit 3 in there rather than just the 2 that I had. There we go. So, so now the story makes sense again. There we go, perfect. Stick on the last one. Okay, so I'm happy with that, and I decide not to do a title because I've got story in the circle above and then the journaling, so I'm having the story as my title. Okay, so I've just pulled out some old flair. I have so many of these and I'm determined to use as many as I can. So I'm going to use one on this layout, and that's got a little bird on, which is really cute and works well. And then I've got this little puffy bird from Amy Tangerine, which also works well. And a little puffy camera as well from that same collection. Right next to the flowers. So I'm just seeing if there's anything else I want to put on from that collection. I tried to put on a little rainbow, but it doesn't work, so I leave that. Another flower here. This is a nice simple grid design, which is always a fallback if you're not sure what you're going to do. And my mojo wasn't running high on the day I made this, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. A grid is always the best solution to that. So I'm just looking through for some more bits and pieces. I don't think I take anything from here in the end. Nope. And finally I get my ultra fine tip Sharpie and just draw a line around the edge just to add a bit of interest around there, and put some faux stitches down on the right. And that is the final layout. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed this process and it gives you some ideas for typed journaling. Can't wait to see what you guys do with this. And until next time, this has been Vicki for Scrap Academy. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.